Hey everyone, before we dive in, if you love real life stories about family drama, standing up for yourself, and sweet karmic justice, please hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications. It really helps the channel. Now let's get into it. My dad stood up in the middle of a packed downtown Chicago steakhouse, raised his wine glass high enough for every aunt, uncle, and cousin to hear, and announced, "We really wish Sophia had been our only daughter." The whole table went dead silent. You could almost hear the chandeliers stop swinging. Mom didn't even blink. She just gave this tiny nod, like they'd practiced the line at home. Sophia's lips curled into that slow, satisfied grin, glowing under the lights like she'd just won the lottery. I didn't cry. I didn't plead. I just let the quiet do its work. Then I pushed my chair back, the screech cutting through the room louder than his toast, and walked out. By the time the heavy door clicked shut behind me, I already knew. Inside of 7 days, they were going to regret every single syllable. People love to say family is everything. For most of my life, I bought that line, hook and sinker. I worked hard, kept my mouth shut, and convinced myself that being loyal would eventually pay off. Turns out loyalty doesn't mean much when you're the kid nobody actually sees. I'm Emma, 35, a finance manager here in Chicago. Numbers behave. Families? Not so much. I grew up in a home where love came with a scoreboard and all the points went to my sister Sophia. She was the star from the minute she could talk. Straight A's, dance recitals, art shows, everything was about her shine. My parents, Richard and Diane, ate it up. Her confidence, her laugh, her vision. My job was to stay small, quiet, and useful in the background. When I was 12, I won the citywide math championship. They didn't come. Mom called later apologizing because Sophia's piano recital ran long. I told her it was fine, but I still remember standing on that stage while the lights dimmed and my row stayed empty. That little ache never quite went away. As adults, the game just got more expensive. Mom and Dad owned a little gift boutique near the Loop. Always one slow month from shutting down. For years, I sent them $500 every month, cleaned up their books, fixed their taxes, basically kept the lights on. They'd turn around and thank Sophia for her brilliant Instagram ideas while pretending my spreadsheets didn't exist. Sophia loved the spotlight, worked it in bright dresses and perfect lipstick, soaking up every compliment like it was oxygen. Every family dinner was the same show, everyone hanging on Sophia's latest big win, while I sat there chewing in silence, hoping someday my quiet effort would finally register. But in that house, love had a ranking system, and I was permanently stuck in second place. So, when Dad said those words out loud at their 36th anniversary dinner, it didn't blindside me. It was just the grand finale of a play I'd been performing in since kindergarten. The only difference this time, I wasn't sticking around for the bows. The week leading up to the dinner, I'd already heard the shift in their voices, the extra pride whenever Mom brought up Sophia's new promotion. The little digs about how Sophia just has a gift for business, like I wasn't the one keeping their store breathing. I told myself I could survive one more night, one more performance. The restaurant was gorgeous, white tablecloths, candles everywhere, the skyline glittering through floor-to-ceiling windows. All the relatives were there. I took my usual seat at the end of the long table, right where I belonged. Sophia swept in wearing fire engine red, of course, and the whole room turned. Mom beamed. Dad gave her a proud shoulder squeeze and called her the family's shining star. Nobody noticed me sipping ice water in the corner. Dinner rolled on, wine flowing, laughter loud, every story somehow looping back to Sophia's new job, her campaigns, her brilliance. When an aunt finally asked about me, Mom smiled sweetly and said, "Oh, Emma helps with the numbers sometimes," then immediately pivoted to Sophia's summer blowout sale. I smiled the way I always did. Then, almost on instinct, I tried one last time. I'd spent weeks digging through the store's books and found a plan that could save them thousands. So I cleared my throat and said, "You're sitting on too much inventory. Switch suppliers, tweak margins, and you could be profitable again in 6 months." I thought maybe, just maybe, they'd listen. Instead, Sophia gave a little pity laugh. "That's adorable, Emma. Why don't you stick to spreadsheets and let the grown-ups handle the real ideas?" A couple cousins snickered. Mom waved it off. "Honey, Let's not bore everyone with math tonight. I kept my voice steady. I'm not trying to bore anyone. I'm trying to keep you from going under. Sophia rolled her eyes. Relax, we're fine. You always overthink everything. Dad didn't even glance my way. He just lifted his glass and said, Sophia's got this. That was the dress rehearsal. The real show came later. All those tiny dismissals over the years had stacked up like dry kindling. By the time Dad stood for his toast, I wasn't mad anymore. I was wide awake. We really wish Sophia had been our only daughter. The words hung there. Something inside me didn't shatter, it calcified. I pushed my chair back, left my napkin folded on the plate like I was checking out of a hotel I never wanted to stay in again, and walked out. The Chicago night air hit hard, cold, sharp, perfect. I didn't cry. I stood on the sidewalk, coat open, breathing it in, and realized this wasn't about one sentence. This was about decades of being the spare. When I got home, I didn't pour wine or call anyone. I opened the family group chat and typed, I'm done with the store. No more money. No more advice. Good luck. Sent. Phone on the counter, face down. It started ringing before midnight. Dad, Mom, Sophia, calls, texts. What is wrong with you? Call us. Stop being so dramatic. I let the battery die. Next morning, guilt tried to sneak in, but I slammed the door on it. Made coffee, opened work spreadsheets for clients who actually appreciated me, and felt lighter. By day 3, the voicemail shifted from confused to angry. Dad, you're tearing this family apart. Mom sent long emails full of tears and half apologies. Sophia fired off texts like bullets. You can't just quit on us. I didn't answer a single one. A week later, I was on a plane to Florida. Didn't tell a soul. Just needed air that didn't smell like their expectations. My grandfather George lives in a little sky blue house he built himself near Clearwater. He's one of the only people who ever saw me clearly. When I pulled into his gravel driveway, he was on the porch with his coffee, staring at the Gulf. He took one look at me and said, You look like you've been through war, kid. Get in here. I sat on his old couch and finally let it all pour out, the toast, the smirk, the years of invisible labor. When I was done, my throat hurt, but my chest felt wide open. He listened without interrupting, then said quietly, You did everything right, Emma. And they still chose wrong. Then I showed him the screenshots, Sophia's Facebook rants calling me jealous, unstable, toxic. Family members liking and commenting. Some even people I work with. Grandpa's face hardened. That's not family. That's betrayal. He walked to his desk, pulled out a thick folder, his estate plan, and called his lawyer. The man showed up before sunset. I sat there stunned while Grandpa gave clear instructions. Everything, the house, the rental properties, the accounts, goes to Emma. Philip, Diane, and Sophia get nothing. The rest to the local VFW. He hung up, looked at me, and said, You've carried them long enough. Time for them to stand up or fall down. I tried to protest. It felt too big, but the words wouldn't come. They'd thrown me away in front of the whole family. If the universe wanted to hand me the scales, I wasn't going to drop them. When I flew home the next day, I didn't feel victorious. I felt still, centered. The fallout was fast. First, the store. Without my monthly checks and constant rescues, bills stacked up like Jenga. Vendors I used to sweet talk stopped extending credit. The tax penalty I'd begged them to fix arrived right on schedule. They couldn't pay it. Fine snowballed. Word traveled. Cousins started texting. Heard your parents' shop is in trouble. I left them on read. Then Sophia's perfect image cracked. She'd built her whole boss babe brand around being the creative genius behind the boutique. When it folded, investors ghosted her. Her polished online life went quiet except for vague posts about toxic people. But the family chat lit up with receipts, screenshots of my Venmo transfers, my late-night emails fixing their mistakes. Suddenly the golden child looked like the con artist. Mom and Dad lost the house to foreclosure, moved into a tiny apartment on the west side, stopped coming to family holidays. People whispered, All these years, Alice, sorry, Emma, was the one holding everything together? I never corrected anyone. The truth was finally loud enough on its own. Some nights I'd still wake up at 3 a.m. wondering if I'd been too harsh. Then I'd remember Dad's voice carrying across that restaurant, Sophia's smirk, Mom's silent nod, and the doubt burned off like morning fog. One night my friend Sarah came over with Thai food and wine. I told her everything, Florida, the will, the collapse. She raised her glass and grinned. To peace. I clinked mine against hers. To justice. A month later, a letter came from Grandpa. Simple note, it's done. Everything is yours. They won't see a dime. You earned this, kid, for surviving them. I folded it, slid it into my nightstand, and slept better than I had in years. The boutique windows are boarded up now. Dad works graveyard shifts in a warehouse. Mom sells cheap earrings on Etsy and pretends it's temporary. Sophia bounces between mall jobs, her red lipstick swapped for exhaustion. They still call sometimes. I don't pick up. Meanwhile, my career took off. The company I managed landed the biggest client in our history, and my boss is already talking partner track. I come home to an apartment that's mine, quiet that's mine, a life that finally feels like mine. Some nights I stand on my balcony, city lights stretching out forever, and I don't feel invisible anymore. Grandpa sent one last photo. Him on his porch, ocean behind him, holding a coffee mug that says, "World's Oka Yes, Grandpa." On the back he'd written, "Proud of you. Never waste time on people who can't see your worth." I pinned it to my fridge. If you've ever been the kid nobody saw, the one holding everything together while everyone praised somebody else, know this: walking away isn't giving up. It's finally choosing yourself. Tell me in the comments where you're watching from, and if this story hit home, please hit subscribe. I post new true stories every week. See you in the next one.